And we are live, and we are live. Tell you what, England have put themselves in a mighty pickle, haven't they? An absolutely huge pickle. Shardul Thakur coming out of nowhere, picking up 3 wickets and 3 very vital wickets. Johnny Bairstow obviously falling for 96 and just caused this kind of little mini collapse from England. Morgan going for 20 odd, Butler really getting nothing, and it was just absolute carnage. And Stokes got 1. The experiment at 3 didn't work. It's just been, well, wicket after wicket, really, and they're still ahead of the rate. You know, the current run rate's still 6.99, required only 5.66, but they've got 2 batsmen in now in Billings and Moeen Ali, who are both very rusty. Moeen's only played 1 match out of the 11. Billings not a single match in the tour so far. So this is going to be a massive test of character, and also, it is a pretty good bat to track. I think it's pretty flat, to be honest with you. But if you haven't been playing much cricket, any surface you come into bat, especially in a pressure situation like this, it'll be very tough. So let's see. They've still got Sam Curran, Tom Curran, Arda Rashid, and Mark Woods come in, but it's not looking fantastic for England. I think they really need to build a partnership and build one very quickly. They still have a lot of runs to get. They're just past the halfway stage in terms of runs. Stokes' dismissal was just so loose, such a loose delivery, such a loose shot even, and Bairstow will be really disappointed trying to go for that big 6 to seal his 100 whilst on 94 and just not quite connecting with it, hitting it early and eventually hitting it straight to the man at deep mid wicket, which will be really disappointing for him. And I think just in general, Charles Darker's bowled well. He's getting a bit of away swing as well, which is quite nice, and his pace has been up. Obviously got his tail up after getting that first wicket, and he just followed it up, and he really made sure that, we're not going to make it easy for England here, and they haven't. And the fall of wickets, I think, kind of says it all. I mean, they've lost 5 wickets in the space of 50 runs even, so to lose 5 wickets for 50 runs is pretty poor considering they were in such a demanding position, 135 for naught. And that's how good they were looking. And that opening pair of Bairstow and Roy, you can't really blame them. They put England in this fantastic position. And then the guys coming in, Stokes, Morgan, just really, really poor from their part. It has been Butler as well. Those 3 have got to really look at each other and say, what have we done? Because Bairstow going out for 94 whilst he's set is annoying, yes. But, to be fair to him, it's pretty tough. It's very, very tough. And I don't think it's at all his fault. You've got to look at the other batsmen coming in who have not contributed anything. And that really is, it's just poor, I would say. Just poor. It's just been really, really, I don't know, it's just been one of those things that you look at it and think, they have really underperformed the middle order throughout pretty much the whole tour. And no matter who you put in that middle order, they've underperformed, and it's been pretty unfortunate for sure. But yeah, not great at all. As Krunal Pandya comes back on, he obviously got spanked in his first spell. He's come back on and he's done a pretty good job here. So yeah, let's see how it goes, and if England can rebuild here, because that would be good to see, wouldn't it? We want to see England rebuild 100%, and actually kind of just give something, right? Just give something. But let's see. Let's see how it goes. It's 187 for 5 off 27.2 overs. In fact, I need to update the scoreboard, so I shall do that. Oh, see, this is where you can tell that these two are very, very rusty because they're playing the ball so late, and not late in a good way, but late in a way where they are very tentative in the way they're playing. It's not good, is it? It's not good. When only this time though, comes down the track and is punching it into the covers, but for no run. And Krunal Pandya had a very expensive first spell, but he's come back on, and this kind of over and a half, he's bowled pretty well to these new two batsmen. And you want someone like him bowling left arm round the wicket, someone like Billings who's rusty, who's turned the ball away from the bat as well, which is fantastic, and what you want to see. And his line and lengths were a bit kind of rusty, I think, early doors, and he was under a lot of pressure with Bairstow, especially targeting him, just spanking him everywhere. But that's a really good over, only 2 runs off it. And England under the caution, the pressure is mounting on these two really to kind of start getting a move on. And they will need to, because they still have quite a few runs to get. Billings 7 off 10, Moyne 5 off 12, and it's 187 for 5 of 28 overs. As I said, Roy and Bairstow put on that fantastic partnership. Bairstow with an unbelievable knock of 94 of 66. And just like Shikhar Dhawan, who got out for 98 in the first innings, both failing to secure hundreds. I think Bairstow especially really deserved 100. The way he played was just so fearless, so brash, but it was just so good at the same time. And Roy, 46 of 35, it's almost like he doesn't want to get a 50. That's 4 40s on this tour so far. And he clearly just doesn't want to deal in 50s or 50 plus scores, which is bizarre, isn't it? Very bizarre. Kuldeep Yadav's back on, I guess, because you've got Moyne, who's a lefty as well. But he faces Billings first, who just tucks it into the leg side, flicks it off his hips for a single. And really, that's what they want. They want Kuldeep against Moyne. That's the matchup and they're looking at. Achal, thank you very much for joining. He says Shardul Thakur has the uncanny ability to pick up quality wickets in the middle over. Right throughout the T20 series and today's ODI, he has been a middle overs match winner. Reminds me of McGrath. I'm going to ignore the reminds me of McGrath because that's come on, Achal, come on. But I guess you're saying more about when he takes wickets rather than comparing skill wise. Because I mean, McGrath's one of the best bowlers ever to grace a cricket field. But yeah, in terms of his ability to take wickets in the middle overs, it seems like he doesn't seem anything special. He really doesn't. But maybe it's just these types of surprise deliveries. So looking at his spells, actually, so his first spell was really expensive. And again, I think that's in the first 10, 15 overs, India want to use him because they want to get some overs out of him. But really, he's better in the middle to late overs. And it showed because his economy was 11, and now it's been, I think it was something like 2.5 or something in that second spell. So showing that he, as Achal is saying, has been fantastic in the middle to late overs. And he definitely has that canny ability. I mean, the McGrath thing, I'm assuming you're not mentioning it skill-wise. You're just saying in terms of an ability, kind of similarity in taking wickets at similar times. But yeah, McGrath, one of the best fast bowlers ever. Horace, thank you very much for joining as well. Guys in the chat, please remember to like the video. Thank you very much. He says, do you rate Morgan as a batsman? I don't know how to feel. I think Morgan is a very good player, but one thing that has always been a mark on his game is a shorter ball. And he just doesn't seem to have quite got over that deficiency in his game. He's a very good square of the wicket. He's a very good six hitter. Anything loose, he'll punish. I think he's actually scored the most sixes in white ball cricket out of any captain. So he's a very, very powerful player. But like, you can't be getting the ball that he got out to was a decent short ball, but you shouldn't be getting out to that. The caliber player is. That's a really good shot from Billings, just rocking on the back foot of Kuldeep Yadav and pulling him away for 4. So what looked like a very good over has become a pretty average over from Kuldeep. It was going to go for 4 in the over, but ended up going for 8, and it's 195 for 5. I'll get to all the questions. Yeah, so what I would say is that for him, it's been so long, and he still hasn't got over that inability to play. When he can play the short ball, it's not bad, but he gets out to the short ball way too often. and it's obviously something where he doesn't look like he's in control. So he doesn't. If he misjudges it, so that ball that he tried to pull, he was too early on the ball, and you could just tell he was, and it was just bizarre. But yeah, nothing. I just think he hasn't been in great form as well this whole tour, which wouldn't have helped him. But when he's on form, then maybe that I feel like that deficiency goes to the back of his head, and maybe just to the back of his skill. Because when you're a Nick, sometimes your form covers up and papers over the cracks. But as soon as you're not, all your deficiencies come out and everyone analyzes it. But I'd be very, very interested to see what his stats are like since the 2019 World Cup win in ODIs and T20s, because I have a feeling that they're not very good. And I could be wrong, but I don't remember him playing a top innings since the World Cup win in either format, T20s or ODIs. But again, I could be wrong, but I might check that out actually and do a little video on that, because it'll be interesting to see, or just even look it up. I have a feeling that his form has dipped quite a bit, and there might be a case of that. He's experienced as captain the high of winning the World Cup. Maybe there's less motivation there. He's a bit older as well. I mean, he's taken on a lot. There's a lot of white ball cricket to be played now as well. Let's see. Hara says, you see how Safraz changed and how he batted so well in PSL. Rizwan helped him get better. Yeah, it did. It did to a degree. He did have quite a good PSL, but I would say actually it was his form for Pakistan just came out of nowhere really. I don't think anyone was really expecting it, and then he was in there as someone who might score, an average of around 20, but a very good keeper, so that's why I was in there. And the next thing you know, he was just blitzing it. So I think it definitely does help to a degree. I don't think, though, it is the be all and end all, but it can be transferable. I think just having that confident mentality of getting runs helps, doesn't it? See, Harris, that makes a good point. So Sartre was moving so confident, and whilst batting, you felt like he was going to bat well, and he did. Yeah, so I think confidence is maybe the thing coming from that rather than the kind of quality. But I agree, it can definitely be a contributing factor to helping them going forward. Charles says, reminds me of any other medium pacer, or else who has been known for bowling of a hard length and picking up so many wickets at a crucial time. Obviously not skill-wise, McGrath is the GOAT. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's like a like Jason Gillespie. He was a very good player as well, to be fair. Very good bowler. But yeah, I get what you mean, Achal. I think he's just got this ability to take wickets, which is uncanny for sure. I don't think it's necessarily expected as well. I think it's well bowled from Kuldeep Yadav. He's getting the ball turn a little bit here. It looks like in the second innings, there's more grip and turn than there was in the India innings, that's for sure, because Arthur Rashid and Moin weren't really getting the ball to turn. Haris Arshad said he played a decent innings for KKR twice, maybe. Yeah, I'm talking about that for England, because I think he did. I mean, again, I don't follow the IPL, but I think he did bat quite well in the IPL at times. But I'm more saying for England, has he done it since? I don't know. Let's see. I think for him, the IPL will be quite crucial because again, it's in the same format. Let's see, man. Let's see. And conditions all very good. Sweep shot from Moin Ali, my boy, sweeping that 4-4. Very, very good shot. And sweeping Kuldeep Yadav against the spin actually as well. So very, very good. Very good. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And Haris says Safraz. Oh, sorry, Haris. You know what? When you said Safraz, for some reason I was thinking of Rizwan. That makes a lot more sense. Your comment. Yes, sorry. Safraz, the PSL definitely has helped him. Yeah, Safraz is moving a lot more confidently. I think in the PSL. Oh, Moina, he's got to be careful there. He's just gone off the back foot to Kuldeep Yadav. If you're going to do it, you've got to get in line, and he hasn't. He's lucky he hasn't entered that point. Let's have a look. Oh, you lucky, lucky boy. He's a lucky boy. He is very lucky. All this time he goes, oh, please don't pick out. No, he doesn't. That's a big one. That's a big 6 from Moeen Ali. This is what we want to see from Moeen Ali. He's good against spinners. He can be very good against spinners. He's now 18 off 20, and that's 1, 4, and now 6 in this over. So it's turning out to be a big over, 11 off it already. And just plants the front foot there, and it's a slog sweep. And there's no field on the fence in that region anyway, in that mid-wicket region. There's someone at deep square leg, no one at deep mid-wicket. And Kohli goes, okay, let's see what Moeen does here now. He just needs to keep his head. He doesn't need to now hit another boundary. And this is a bad ball, fine. But him and Billings need to build here for sure. 210.45 off 30.5 overs. Here we go, Kuldeep. Oh, that's a wide delivery. That's very wide. He's almost tried to, I think what he tried to do there is get away from Moeen's arc. But that one was very wide. Almost trying to entice him into cutting the ball because he feels like that he's got more of a chance of getting him out than bowling straighter. Oh, that's good. That's very well timed from Moeen, but it would just be a 1. And that's a big over for England. They'll be happy with that. There's, very big over. 17 off it, 2-2, 2-1, 2 for 5 off 30 overs. England are, as I said, the run rate is good. It's the wickets that are the issue. So they just need a bit of stability here now, which Moeen Ali and Billings seem to slowly and cautiously be doing it. I don't want to say that they're doing it so well because next thing you know, I give them the commentator's curse. And Moeen Ali is my boy, and I don't want him to get out. But let's see. I'm surprised that they haven't peppered Moeen Ali with short delivery like Ed Morgan, because in the past he's had issues with the short ball as well. So I'm not sure why they haven't done that, which is an interesting one. I would have thought they would have done that, but I guess maybe they thought that's definitely not the right method or game plan. They weren't Kuldeep Yadav, who makes sense, but hasn't really paid off as of yet. Let's see. As there's a little break, I think they're going to have a drinks break, don't they, at the 30th over, which might be why. See how it goes. I mean, at this 30 over break, who do we think's in the ascendancy? Or at one point, I thought it was like 70-30 India when Billings and Moeen were just in. They're kind of starting to, for me, bring the game back into, not England's favour. I would say we're looking at 60-40 India still. I still think it's going to be really tough because I don't know how many runs you can really guarantee from like Tom Curran, Sam Curran. I mean, Tom Curran's got an average of something like 49 ODIs or something ridiculous because he just gets loads of not outs basically. And he can bat as well. He can bat. He's a good tail ender to have in there. Sam Curran is the same as well. In Test cricket, I mean, Sam Curran can bat as high as 6, and I think he'd probably do a good job. But here he could as well, though he didn't have a very good series for bat in the T20 when he did bat. Rashid can bat a little bit as well. He's actually got a strike rate of 100 in ODIs, and Mark Wood can't, so just forget about him. But yeah, Krunal Pandya is actually going to continue, which is interesting. I guess he's bowled quite well in the last 2 overs. Obviously, as I said, was getting torn apart by Bairstow and also by Roy. And the innings he played early doors was fantastic, wasn't it? It was unbelievable. Very, very good 50 from Krunal Pandya. Not quite sure about his smashing his head and stuff or punching his helmet, but To be fair, like I think he was crying with it a little bit because of his I think it's to do with his dad, is it? That's fair enough. I don't mind that, but the some of the antics are very interesting, I think. But they're kind of both brothers, aren't they? Very action packed. I don't. Doesn't look like we're going to have Hardik Pandya bowling here, and it could just be a case of they don't want to risk him because it's a T20 World Cup year, and they've got options. So why bowl him? But that will mean that they'll have to stick with the 4 bowlers, which means they'll have to get 10 from Kunal Pandya, which will be interesting. It doesn't look like Virat Kohli wants to utilize Hardik Pandya at all today, although he's stretching, which means I think he might have. He's probably thinking I need to get a couple of overs from him, so that's interesting. But he'll probably bowl 3 or 4 overs, I would assume, not a lot, which is why he's tried to steal some overs with Kunal Pandya and Kuldeep Yadav in the middle overs, so that he doesn't have to bowl lots because they're probably thinking he's bowled quite a bit, especially in the T20s. He's still not. No, he's 100%, but he's still pretty fresh from that injury, so we don't want to risk it, which is understandable. So why are we going to bother having Hardik Pandya bowl 10 overs when we don't need him to? And they picked up 5 wickets now, so they probably thought, well, actually, we don't need to. That's a good shot from Billings, but straight to the man at deep long off for a single. They're starting to build a little partnership here, Billings and Moyne. Billings is 17 off 20, Moyne 20 off 23, and England 214 for 5, halfway through this 31st over, or 32nd over even. And yeah, Kunal Pandya is bowling quite well, as I said in the second spell. I think he's adjusted his line length a little bit. He's a lot more of a dot, and these batsmen are not as explosive, especially at this point in their innings as someone like Bairstow and Roy were at the time, and he kind of had to face them whilst they were already in full flow, so they were just absolutely caning everywhere, which is just horrendous for him, and it would have been really tough, especially on debut as well, to bowl to arguably, the best opening white ball pair around in ODIs. So let's see. Cash says, can Billings Moyne play the same role that KL Krunal played? Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. The only thing I would say is that Billings, especially, is a very, very good player and has been fantastic in terms of averages. But the way he scores is not normally very quickly, like someone like a KL Rahul. It's pretty hard to see him score at a 150, 140, 150 strike rate in an ODI, whereas someone like KL Rahul can do that because he has those gears. I don't know whether Billings has that potentially, but let's see. Moeen Ali does have that. We've seen it with his six hitting ability. He's got more than Billings, but maybe he hasn't been as solid in the past. So I think they can definitely form a very good partnership, and they probably don't need to go as quickly as those two because the platform's been laid a lot better, and the run rate required is still under a run a ball, which is really good. So they'll be able to do it. And you're saying 100+ partnership is possible. Like they've got ability. Dark Soul, thank you very much for joining. Guys in the chat, please do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help. He says, please. I'm not sure what you mean. Dark Soul, please what? 217 for 5 off 32 overs. A slow ball bouncer there from I forgot his name. I have to wait 1 second. Also, what do you guys think of Kohli's drop where you're celebrating and then he dropped it? That was an interesting one. Sorry, Prasid, isn't it? Prasid or is it Prasad? Prasid, I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Prasid. Ooh. At one point, I thought that was out, but there's a bump ball. Oh, no, it is out. Oh, my God. Billings has done a Stokes and he's hit it straight to the fielder at short cover. That's a really bad shot. And both these players have got out to proceed in exactly the same way. He's pretty quick. I mean, he's bowling 145 Ks plus, and it's good line length. And you're trying to drive on the up, and he's turned in his hand. He hasn't got all of it, and he's hit it straight to the man at short cover. And it's almost like he's kind of been beaten for pace a little bit as well. It's a really poor shot, you know that. A very loose shot from Billings. He is rusty, so I can't blame him too much. But Stokes play that shot, and he's been playing the whole tour. So I don't know what it is. I don't think it's sticky in the surface. I think it's still a very good surface to bat on. So I don't think there's any excuse there. Under the lights, it may be a bit difficult, a bit more difficult for batsmen because under the lights, the white ball does swing a bit more or move a bit more, as we saw with Charlotte Darko was getting a bit of a way swing. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was getting to swing a little bit. But really, overall, it's still pretty flat, the deck. So that's really disappointing from Sam Billings. I have to say, he was looking quite good as well at the time. So I was thinking, well, that rustiness doesn't look like it's going to play a part here, but obviously it came in the end. So disappointing. And now they're going to have to really, really do it. And what Cash was saying is about can Billings and Moyne play that same role? Well, unfortunately, they can't. Billings and Moyne cannot do that same or put in a good partnership like Rahul and Krunal, and they didn't even need to do it at the same rate. They could have been slower, but they just need to both stay in and score runs together. But Billings getting out in a very loose way, just hitting it straight to the man at short cover from Prasid. And am I pronouncing his name right? I don't think I am. I think I'm butchering it. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong, everyone, as well. Let me know how to pronounce it. I'm saying Prasid. Is Prasid right? But yeah. Dark Souls says, can you subscribe to my channel? Yeah, sure, why not? I'll subscribe to it after this. I'll have a search. No worries, Dark Soul. Guys as well, actually, everyone in the chat. We're just having a look for the replay. Yeah, it's just turning his hand. I'll tell you a secret. And Dark Soul will like this as well. So I'm not quite at 1,000 subscribers yet. So if you do know anyone that is interested in cricket, boxing, or tennis, please do share the channel if you think they'd be interested. I also did an interview, Dark Soul, you might not know, with West Indies leg spinner Hayden Walsh Jr., who was the MVP in the CPL for 2020. So yeah, that was really good. And yeah, let's try and get to 1,000 subs ASAP, please. That'd be amazing if possible. Anyway, England at 219 for 6 and off 32.3 overs. They started to form that partnership and it just looked like they were starting to gain back momentum. And next thing you know, that wicket's just fallen and it's going to be really tough now. Sam Curran has got off the mark. Moeen Ali, we've got two lefties here. Oh, hold on. Oh, that would have been miles out. Moeen Ali has called a single there and that's not a single. That's suicidal running, and they need him to stay in. They need him to stay in. That's let's have a look. Sam Curran's called that. No, that's not a run. That's suicidal running from Sam Curran. What is he doing? That is an absolute shocker. He's nearly run out Moeen Ali terribly there. Got away with that. Anyway, Moeen on strike. I tell you what, he's probably counting his blessings because direct hit and he was nowhere near. He was completely gone. I'm telling you that right now. What do you guys, everyone listening as well, let me know what you think of Shikhar Dhawan and Bairstow's innings. I mean, obviously quite different innings. Bairstow scored very quickly, but both very close to 100. Not able to get over the line. And Shikhar Dhawan's cracked me up a little bit. But I thought he was a bit conservative when he went to the 90s, and maybe it was a case of the nervous 90s, but he's so experienced. But I think he was a bit, not selfish or greedy, I don't know if that's the right word. He thought, you know what, I'm going to play more low-risk cricket here, and then a ball finally came, but because he'd slowed himself down so much, that when it did come, it was a bit surprised, oh, I should probably hit this, and he was a little bit late on it almost, and yeah, just skied it straight up in the air, or straight to even mid-wicket. 2-2-1 for 6 off 33 overs. Cash says, I would pronounce it as it looks, Prasid. Yeah, Prasid, yeah. That's how I'm saying it, so I'll stick with it unless someone tells me otherwise. I didn't realise that. So I said, I think Pune before, but it's Pune, isn't it? So I got that wrong. Okay. Not good. It's because everyone says different things. I need to just talk to the people, the Indians. I need to talk to the Indians and find out exactly how to pronounce it. Anyway, 2-2-1 for 6 off 33 overs. Minus 23 or 28. He's going to be vital, I'll tell you that. If they want to get you into that total, he's going to have to stay in, and he's going to have to stay in pretty long until pretty much the end, I would assume, or at least get them close, because Tom Curran can whack a little bit. He might be able to do it for you at the end, like you've got 5 overs left. Him and Rashid can potentially do something. But Moy needs to get them to like the 45th over. As in if it's going to get that close. They're going in a pretty decent rate still. They had a couple of good overs, especially one of Kohli Biadab. That was a really big over. There was like 17 off that over. Need another big over here from Krunal, who's bowling into Sam Curran, who's new to the crease. So he just needs to keep it ticking. So the current run rate is actually 6.66 and the required is 5.76. So the required run rate is still below a run of all, right? So it's still very doable unless it creeps above 7. But even then, I think it's doable. But if it creeps above 7, then okay, you're like, oh, we're in a bit of trouble because there's still 16 odd overs to go. But they're in a pretty good position here. They just need to make sure they don't lose another wicket. I said they're in a good position. They're in a good position runs-wise, but wickets-wise, they're not. So this is a very interesting game. Guys in the chat, let me know who you're backing. Let me know who you think is going to win and why as well, because I think it's anyone's game for sure. It really is. Horace says, England have lost literally one more wicket. Game over. Yeah, potentially. That's very, very, very true. Potentially, that could be the case. That could be the case for sure. I mean, especially if it's Moeen Ali, I think it's game over probably. It's probably game over, if I'm being honest with you. It'll be very, very difficult, I think, to come back from that. And it's a 2-2-3 for 6 of 34 overs. Let's see how this goes. Doing really well here, actually, are India in terms of bringing this game back. They did fantastically well, I thought. I think they've done really well. It's been a very, very good fight back so far. And I mean, if they manage to win this game, I think you have to really commend the bowling effort from India, because without people like Bumrah and Jadeja, I think it's been super impressive. It's been very, very impressive. And are we going to see Hardik Pandya? He keeps on pretending like he's going to bowl. He's like warming up, but no, we're not yet. Anyway, we may see him, I guess, towards the end, but not at the moment. Prasidh is back on, 3 for 51 for him, so he's picked up some vital wickets as well. He's been pretty good. He's running in, and he's actually looked again similar, I guess, to Krunal Pandya. The first spell, he was very, very loose. Got hit quite a bit again by Johnny Best and Jason Roy. Second spell, very good. I mean, he picked up the wickets of Stokes, Billings, and one more. I thought, I forget who the third was, but he's bowled very, very well. I think it was Bairstow actually as well, who skied him, wasn't it, to mid-wicket. So he's looked fantastic. I think he definitely looks like one for the future. I wonder how old he is actually. Let's have a look. It's a good shot from Sam Curran down the ground, but unfortunately, no run as a Prasidh fields that well. That's Jason Roy. Yeah, that was a good delivery actually, just angling into him. So yeah, Jason Roy, Stokes, and Billings. He looks a good little player, does Prasidh. He does for sure. So he's 25. Okay. So, not bad. So he's got quite a long time left, really. He looks like one for the future, for sure. So let's see how it goes and how he does as well. Two-two-four for 6. And let's have a look at that ball. Yeah, here we go. See the short stuff. This is what I'm saying. Moeen Ali is going to get peppered at some point. He has to, because I mean, he does. As much of a fan as I am of Moeen Ali, I think everyone knows that in the past he's had issues with the short ball at times. So, you know, the Australians, for example, in the test matches used to pepper him loads, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But on the whole, like, they'd know that we'd get some success. You wouldn't do it all the time, but you would put it in there and know that, okay, you might catch him off guard, because he's so good off the front foot for the most part, square of the wicket as well, anything on his legs. But most of the time he might get himself out, but otherwise utilising the short ball is quite a good tactic for him. Yeah, score comparison is interesting, isn't it? Looking at that. England obviously went absolutely huge in the first kind of 15 to 20 overs, and then they've kind of quietened down a little bit, whereas India, almost the polar opposite. As Sam kind of tucks that round the corner to the man at fine leg, and it's 226 for 6. Very good over from Prasid even, sorry. From Prasid. Only 3 off the over. 15 overs left. I don't know. I feel like, as Horace said, I feel like England are 1 wicket away from losing this, because it'll just be so difficult. It'll be so difficult. It's not a case of the run rate. There's a lot of overs left. There's a lot of runs still to get. That's the issue, and the run rate has now crept. The required run rate has crept above 6 and over. So they need 92 from 90 balls. They need to start, picking up some decent sized overs here in terms of runs. I mean, they need to go big on a few. But let's see. Let's see how this goes. 226 for 6, as I said. 15 overs left. Who are you guys backing? Let me know. Let me know who you're backing. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is running in here. Oh, very good stuff. He looks good, doesn't he, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar? He just looks like that player that... Look at this. I mean, first spell, 3.25 economy, and then he bowled 1 over for 4 runs. Flipping heck. I mean, he's just so miserly, and I think he's the one bowler that England really respect. They're just like, okay, we're probably not going to mess around with you. We will play you respectfully, and that's what they've done. And it's worked, right? It's worked. Like, just looked at it and thought, well, we are not going to take the mick with you. We're going to say, actually, realistically, you're probably India's best bowler. So why are we going to take any risks with you? We'll play you out, and then everyone else will try and pick off accordingly, which they've done with Kuldeep Yadav. They've done with other bowlers at times. But here now they're in a position where, he's got 5 overs left. They're going to have to try and score something off him, and it'll be difficult for sure. And he's a wicket-taking bowler as well. I don't know. This is going to be very difficult, because he's not going to go for many in the rest of his overs. I can tell you that right now. If he does, I'd be very surprised. The equation is 92 off 87 balls needed to win. Sam Curran is 5 of 14. He's eating up too many deliveries. Is Sam Curran? He needs to get a move on, and he does. He tries to anyway. That's a very good shot. That's exactly what I said. Get a move on, and it's almost like he heard me, and he pulls Bhuvneshwar Kumar away for 4 to the mid-wicket boundary. 1 bounce 4. Very good shot from Sam Curran. I think Moeen Ali's having a chat with him and saying, "Look, that's better. Like anything that can be put away, you've got to put away at this point." I'm assuming he's telling him, and he's just saying, "Look, rotate the strike otherwise. You don't want to be eating up deliveries. Just nurdle it into the corners, into the gaps, and pick up a single, and just at least rotate the strike. Keep the scoreboard ticking along." And that's what they need to be doing at this point. Well played again from Sam Curran. Well bowled from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. But Sam Curran, I think, needs to be a bit more adventurous in the sense of he needs to be very, very, not super aggressive, but have better intent, I think, at the moment. That was the first boundary, by the way, for 31 balls. So I think that kind of says a lot. And since Sam Curran's come to the crease, England have in general slowed down a little bit. I think Moeen Ali's realised that he needs to be slightly more sensible, whereas with Billings he could afford to be more aggressive. Also, he hasn't faced as many balls, I don't think, in the last few overs as well. That's better from Sam Curran, though. Although why is he hogging the strike for? Just silly. I don't understand that. It's 2-3-1 for 6. I'm not sure why he couldn't have hit a single throughout that over. It's just bizarre. Moeen Ali striking the ball well. He should really be trying to get him on strike, and instead he's kind of eating up deliveries. I don't know whether it's just because, I'm assuming it's not deliberately. I'm assuming it's just the fact that that last ball he felt like he could, hit into a gap and pick up a single, because the previous balls were very well bowled from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but Sam Curran's got to be doing better there and picking up more singles, I think. And he'll have to here as Krunal Pandya is back on. This is a chance, by the way, and I know that he's bowled very well for the past, this second spell of 4 overs, he's bowled pretty well, I think it is. It's a chance, though, for England to pick up runs here, sorry. Exactly. Harris makes a very good point. Sam Curran needs to put pressure on them by rotating facts. Exactly. Thank you very much. At the same time, you can't be too careful. It's a hard situation. The wickets being the problem, not runs. Yeah, exactly. I agree. And he's done well there. First ball. No, that's it. Just clipped it into the field. Single. Perfect. Perfect, right? And they can do that because the required run rate is only just above 6. If they can get a single off each ball, fantastic. And then single off each ball, and then occasionally pick up a boundary, you won the game. I know you need to go for a certain amount of time, but it's doable. It's very doable. You've got to have that mindset of just keep it ticking along. As you said, don't take unnecessary risks. If it's a very good ball, then fine. You might have to just soak it up. And Moeen Ali's getting frustrated because that should have been at least a single, and so he can't be doing what Sam Curran was just doing, which is soaking up deliveries. He's got to be making sure that he's, again, rotating the strike. Keep on rotating. He's going at a decent rate, 25 of 33. He hasn't faced many balls, though, because Sam Curran's pretty much faced all the last few. That's a good shot down the ground. That'll be 4. That's a fantastic shot from Moeen Ali. Fantastic timing. Actually, very quick hands and unbelievable timing. And just punching that down the ground for 4. Full face of the bat. His timing is exquisite at times. Horace says a shot. It is a shot. Fantastic shot. And he's such a natural striker of the ball. And if you look at his stats, like he should have such better stats than he does. He really should. As a batsman especially, like he's such a natural striker of the cricket ball. There's not, and when I say natural, of course, a lot of people hit the ball cleanly, but in terms of, you have people who can hit sixes almost effortlessly, and he's one of them. There's not many. It's not many. But he's one. Is that out? I don't think that is out. No, it's not. Okay. It's not. It's well run. It's better. That's better running. It's not suicidal running like before. There's 237 for 6, and 6 off that. So okay, that's not terrible. But that's what they need to be doing, at least getting 6 and over now, at least. So they just stay in touching distance of that required run rate. That's what they need. Oh, Virat Kohli is going. Ooh. Also, for Charles in the chat, let me know how you did in your exam as well, Charles. I know you had an exam, so let me know if you passed. Hopefully, you did. It's 81 runs needed from 78 balls. 81 needed from 78 balls. What are we thinking? England got 4 wickets in hand. I'm thinking this partnership is vital, and if a wicket falls, as Horace has said previously, he's out. Oh no! Oh no! That's a really good delivery, but that's just why, man. Why? Moyne, my boy's gone. He has to walk off. Moyne. Oh, I can't believe this. Seriously, I can't believe this. That's such a good ball, by the way. That's actually a cracker of a delivery. He's just, just absolute beauty. Oh, mate. He should be leaving it, but the issue is that it's coming into him, and he's thinking, "I've got to play this," and then he it just gets it to shape away. It's just an absolute beautiful delivery from over the wicket, and he just feathers it behind. Oh, bloody hell! Yeah. Cash is out. Cash is game over. I think it is game over. I can't believe it as well, because England, and you know what, they've done this a couple of times. They did this a couple of times in T20s. They set up the innings so nicely, the top order, and then the middle order just got blown away. I mean, Stokes. Morgan got 20 odd. Okay, fine. So let's say Stokes and Butler especially. Billings, but Billings is rusty, so I'm more looking at Morgan and Butler. Moyne got 30 odd, so I mean, Moyne and Morgan got 20 and 30 odd respectively. So yeah, I think they could have done better, but at least they got some runs. Billings is rusty. Okay, I can understand that. If it was the next match, then maybe. But Morgan and Butler and Stokes and Butler, poor. Tom Curran's in now. One thing you could say as well is that people like Roy, who was on 40 odd, Moyne on 30 odd, Morgan on 20 odd, they've got starts. They should be going on to get more runs. So that's another thing you can say as well, to be fair. Horace says, man, I wanted Moyne to do well as well. Yeah, he did well whilst he was in. I think it's 30 he got of 36 balls. I think he was under a bit of pressure because Sam Curran had eaten up a few deliveries. Just looking at that, by the way, that's an absolute beauty from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He's just got it to it's shaped in a little bit initially, then it's pitched and it's seamed away. And it's just such a good delivery. It's an absolute beauty, seriously. And one shaking his head, probably thinking, I shouldn't have played it, which is right. But tell you what, the cracker of a delivery really was. But he'll be a bit disappointed, one, because he's already got his eye in, so he needs to be leaving that ball. That's what he needs to be doing. Anyways, guys in the chat as well, thanks very much for joining. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much for joining. You're all legends. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you think. Tom Curran has an average of 41, by the way, or 42. And the reason why is because he's got so many not outs, but doesn't matter, right? And not it doesn't matter because, well, an average is an average, so he'll be happy with that. He'll be looking to get another not out here if he can. Imagine if he sees them home as well. Even better. 238 for 7 off 37.3 overs. Moyne went for 30 off 37. I think they were struggling a little bit to rotate the strike, him and Sam Curran, and Sam Curran kind of ate up quite a few deliveries, and then Moyne was striking it quite well. I think when Billings went as well, he probably felt like, I can't be as aggressive. Sam Curran then started to play a bit better, and then Moyne was eating up a few deliveries. They didn't quite get going together well enough as a partnership. You've got 2 brothers in, though. Let's see, can the brothers see them home? It's possible. Tom Curran come back, as can Sam Curran. It's going to be difficult under this pressure situation. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're fantastic batsmen. I'd say that they're capable, and 79, 73, can they get that? Yes, it's doable. The percentage chance of them getting it, maybe 25%, 20%, I would say. No higher than that. And that's the kind of percentage I'd give England. I'd say it's about 80-20 India at the moment, at least. And a very, very good fight back, I must say, from the bowlers, especially Prasid and Thakur, and obviously Bhuvneshwar Kumar as well. Jimmy231, thank you very much for joining. He says, this collapse shows the value of Root at 3 for this team. 100%. I agree with you. I think Root is he's a fantastic ODI player. I mean, and I might go as far as to say, might be controversial, I think Root is England's best ever white ball player. If you look at his stats, I'll tell you what, it's hard. It's hard to disagree. Joe Root is a fantastic player. People forget how good a white ball player he is. And Stokes, unfortunately, and it's funny because everyone keeps on saying about moving Stokes up, and I think it's because you can see the ability he has as a batsman. But they moved him up to 3 and it hasn't worked. 1 off 11 was really disappointing. And Sam Curran tries to go big, that's gone straight up in the air. I think that's going to be out. Yes, it will be. Oh, that's such a poor shot. There's no need to play that. They need to go about 6 and over. That's such a poor shot, seriously. That's just shocking from Sam Curran. You think it's the IPL and it's not. Come on, mate. Come on. I know he's young, but that's what happens though, right? When you don't know how to rotate the strike. He doesn't know how to rotate the strike, so he's 12 or 20, and he's just thought, I have to gain a bit of control here with the bowler. And he's tried to go over the top, and he just doesn't have the legs on it, and he's completely mishit against the spin. It's a really, really poor shot. Considering the game situation as well, there's only 3 wickets left, and now they've only got 2 wickets left. It's a shocker. Can't expect it all on him. Like, definitely not all his fault, but that, considering the situation of the game and the scenario, really, really poor cricket. Really, really poor cricket. That's not the way to get out. Get out to a good ball, fine. That's not the way to get out. Cash says, Curran brothers versus Pandya brothers. I wonder how often that has happened in international cricket. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's been really interesting, hasn't it, to see it? It's really nice to see as well, to be fair, even though I've just completely lambasted Sam Curran. Guys in the chat as well, please remember to like this video, read us, help, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much, you're all legends. Charles says, so it comes down to Curran Bros versus Pandya Bros. Yeah, and so far, the Pandya Bros are on top, aren't they? I mean, Krunal Pandya with that fantastic 50-odd. Hardik Pandya obviously didn't get any runs, and it doesn't look like he's going to even need to bowl, which is incredible. I think he was warming up at one point, but the wicket has just fallen, and Kohli said, actually, no, go on, you don't need to bowl, actually, today, it's fine. Rendezvous says, listen, all I'm excited for is Fakhar Zaman's comeback in the South Africa series. Rendezvous is up for the Pakistan South Africa series. That is next Sunday, it's starting the ODI series. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does as well, because ODI is his best format, I think. He's pretty temperamental in T20s. Horace says, out, game over. Yep. Charles says, lol, the second I said it, baby Curran said sayonara. I know. It was such a mindless shot as well. It's just silly, silly, silly. You thought he was in the IPL for some reason. The thing is, right, if he pulls it off, we're saying, oh, what a shot. Like, he's hit that for 6. What a shot. But he didn't really look like his timing wasn't there. So to play that shot against the spin as well and use your feet, it's just... He played one good shot, which is a pull shot off Bhuvneshwar Kumar. And apart from that, he just wasn't looking great, was struggling to rotate the strike. And this England team is a very, very good team, but they haven't applied themselves whatsoever. And you can't just rely on... It's almost like they expected Roy and Bairstow to just take them all the way. And it's like... Or they just got complacent thinking, you know what, they're giving us such a good platform, we can just take our time, leisurely, whereas maybe they should have been thinking, let's maybe try and keep up the momentum. Okay, we don't need to go so gung-ho. We can get our eyes in, but we should be trying to rotate kind of any point we can, right? And there were loose deliveries when those guys came in. I mean, Ben Stokes ate up 11 deliveries for 1. Like, how does that help? It's just, yeah. Harris says in T20, any time a partnership gets broken, wickets just. He says in T20, any time a partnership gets broken, wickets just fall. I think he's trying to say. Yeah, but this isn't even a T20 game. That's the thing, right? It's an ODI, and they've lost. Hold on, let's have a look. They've lost 8 wickets in the space of 100 runs, which is just they've lost it at regular intervals. I think England will be really disappointed. I think for me, the biggest disappointments, Stokes is at 3. I think that was disappointing. I was expecting him to step up, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I do really rate him. I think he's a really, really good talent. But again, just has underperformed, I think, the whole tour, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, especially with the bat. He's been quite good with the ball at times. And again, with the bat, he's had a couple of flashes in the pan, but nothing substantial for me. Nothing that I would say, okay, he's gone out there and he's really taken the game by the scruff of the neck. And look at this. Ryan Bairstow scored 135 off 89 balls, and England can't win the game. What? Like, it's just mind-blowing. Like, how can he throw it away from there? And that's going to be out, I think. Oh, mate. Rashid just nicks that behind. I can't believe this. This is just... I'm not even an England fan. Like, I'm just... But I've got a vested interest. And this is just diabolical. I can't really blame Rashid as like another one, because he's not a batsman. And it's a good ball, but flipping hell. Har says, in England T20 games against India, sorry. Yeah, that's true. England collapsed, didn't they? The middle order has been, they've had a very weak underbelly. The middle order has just been shocking. Morgan, by the way, has had a terrible tour. And I think Jimmy231 or whoever else knows, I need to look this up. I will look this up after. I keep on forgetting to. I want to know what his stats are for England after the World Cup, because I feel like he's scored no runs since then. I could be wrong, like no substantial runs. But Charles says, I'll say it. If England can bat the 50 overs, runs will definitely come. No need to go searching. I agree, 100%. If England batted the 50 overs, they would have won this match comprehensively, because they open up with Ryan Bairstow, who scores so quickly that, and they're just so good on these types of tracks. Like, this is the perfect track for an England team to bat on. And now they've got Mark Wood, who's trying to save the game for them. Ridiculous. Like, it's just a joke. It's so funny. I just can't believe it. Horace said, would you play Milan? Milan's an interesting one. Says out. Jimmy says, thoughts on Milan not being in the squad. Seems odd not to give him a run while Root is out to get used to the Indian pitches. Yes and no. Yes, I think it would be a good idea, because I think obviously he had a very good last T20, but apart from that, he was pretty poor. Well, the one thing I would say is that, and normally I say the IPL, like for example, next year the IPL I don't think has much relevance to the T20 World Cup because in Australia. This year I think it's got a lot of relevance because the same conditions, similar, same conditions completely even. The pitches will be very similar because the T20 World Cup's in India this year, and the IPL obviously is in India. So Dawood Malan, for example, I think him playing in the IPL will really help him, and hopefully he can carry that form through into the IPL, and then actually it'll help him adapt. But what you just said was a really good point, because Root's not in the side. They need a number 3 for today. I think it would have been slightly harsh on Livingston, who's been in the squad for a very long time, and he is a number 3 as well. And I think he's been looking to push and get a chance. And obviously they went with Stokes instead, because they wanted to fit Billings in, right? Because realistically, Stokes hasn't played a single ODI since the World Cup until today, for anyone that doesn't know. And because of that, Billings got a chance and obviously performed very well, took the chance. They tried to fit both of them in because obviously if Stokes was to play normally and they had a full-strength side, you don't actually know when you're going to fit Billings in there, because if you want Moyne in there for balance, the bowl as well, then you can't fit Billings in really. It's really tough to, which is crazy to think about because he's played so well as of late. But I would have actually liked to, and I've said this, and it's difficult because they are 2 different formats. And I think nowadays, ODI and T20s are becoming more and more different. And you are seeing this bigger disparity between all three formats. Whereas before, you could say, "Oh, you're a good player in one format. You can just translate that into other formats." Nowadays, it's a lot harder, and we're seeing that, right? So the only thing I would say though is that Dawood Milan's only played one ODI for England, which I do think is quite surprising. I mean, he's played quite a few Test matches, and he's obviously played a lot of T20s now, and he's performed very well in T20s for quite some time. Would you have given him a chance? I would have liked to have seen him in there number 3. I don't know. I don't think he will play a single. He's in the reserve players, isn't he? So I don't think we're going to see him at 3. I think we might see Livingston at 3 next match because Stokes hasn't performed very well in this one, and they'll move Stokes back down. If Billings' shoulder's not 100%, then obviously he'll come out anyway. So that will probably help them. They can then slot in Livingston into 3. I don't know. I just think the batting shouldn't be the issue for England because their batting lineup is actually very talented. The application has just been very, very poor. And I think to have such an incredible start as they had with Roy and Bairstow, like how can he just throw it away like this? It really just befuddles me. And it definitely, the exact same happened in the T20s. I mean, they were chasing 185 on a pretty flat deck, and they just threw it away again. I don't know. And again, they built that platform. I think it was at the time it was Roy and Butler built a platform, and they did it for that chase of 225, which I can understand why you'd fall away there because that's such a big total. But they did it with the 185, and if they'd won that game, they would have won the series 3-1 because they were 2-1 up at the time. It's just, yeah, it's a bizarre one. 75 needed or 58, by the way, for anyone who cares. Tom Curran tries to go big, and he does actually manage to squeeze it to the cow corner boundary for 4. As I said, he can hit. He's actually a pretty decent bat. I've seen him bat a lot for Surrey as well. But it's going to be really hard for him to do it by himself to pick up 71 runs because Mark Wood's not going to give you much, I'll tell you that. Horace says Roy played a stupid shot. Roy is someone, and I really want to do like some type of technical breakdown on this. He completely loses shape, and he's looked so poor in terms of his shape. He's scoring runs because shots like the sweep or anything to leg side, he looks okay. Anything that he has to play straight down the ground or to the offside, I would say 60 to 70% of the time he loses his shape. He played one fantastic drive down the ground today, but apart from that, and they were mentioning it, he just tries to swipe at the ball, and I've seen him play for Surrey for a number of years and also for England, and I know how good a player he is in terms of like being able to play all the shots in the book and actually play them without looking so ugly, right? If you know what I mean, like looking like he's playing in a free-flowing way and he's not out of control and he's constantly in control, playing the ball later, etc. For some reason, I think maybe it's because of T20 cricket and he's looking to power hit, which is fine, but it's almost like he's completely lost his shape at times. So he needs to rein that back in a little bit, tighten up his technique. He can still be explosive. You can still be explosive with a tighter technique, and I think he's maybe thinking, well, I just need to go. It's just fast hands with the ball, and I can whip through the ball as quickly as possible, and it doesn't matter because even if I get outside, I'm just going to go over 4, or I don't need to get all of it. Just go as quickly as I can through the ball, which I understand in T20 cricket. There is a degree of that, but even then, he's a good enough player, ability-wise, to play properly to a degree and actually still get runs, especially in ODIs. You can't get away with it, and that's why we saw that disparity between Bairstow and Roy today, because Bairstow looked a lot more comfortable, whereas normally you'd actually associate Bairstow as just clearing the front foot, but you're seeing that he is actually thinking, I need to play straighter here. Yeah, which is interesting. Horace said that Barbados versus New Zealand in the World Cup was very well timed. It was a very well timed innings in 50 overs. Yeah, it was. It was a fantastic innings, and obviously, I'm just going to harp on about it because I'm a Pakistan fan, but it means absolutely nothing. By the way, is that we obviously beat England and New Zealand in the World Cup, who were the finalists, and we didn't get through to past the group stage, was it? We didn't make the semis, did we? It means absolutely nothing, and yeah, England obviously would just. I mean, look, they're missing. Who are they missing? They're missing Archer and Wokes. So they're 2 opening bowlers, right? But then India missing Bumrah and Jadeja. So if India missing Bumrah and Jadeja, then that kind of cancels out your Jofra Archer and your Wokes, to be honest with you. And who else? Who else India missing? I mean, Rishabh Pant's being rested, I think. So I guess England are missing Root. But really, apart from that, they've got a full-strength side. So these teams should be quite evenly matched. And really, they look like they were going to completely run away with it. And they've just completely collapsed. It's just been a collapse of every proportions. And this is worrying. I'll tell you what, this is worrying. I think there's a few points that are very worrying. I think number one is Owen Morgan. Owen Morgan not getting any runs is really, really worrying. He's the captain and he hasn't led by example with the bat whatsoever. I think he's been really poor throughout the whole T20 series and he's didn't pick up a single run. I don't think really, like hardly any. I mean, I don't remember him scoring more than 10 in the T20s. And here he scored 20 odd, but then he got out to the shorter ball, which is something that he's supposed to have got on over, but clearly not. Butler looked really poor. But then obviously he's played quite well in the T20, so okay, he scored 2 pretty good knocks out of the 5 games, so fine. Stokes a 3, looked really bad, didn't step up to the plate. The way Roy got out, as Horace said, was quite disappointing, but I can't put too much blame on him because him and Bairstow both put on a fantastic partnership and they really set up the innings. Bairstow, you can say the shot he got out to was point. I think he actually, out of anyone, even though Darwan got 98, I would say Bairstow even more so deserved 100 than Darwan because he just batted so well. And the thing is, when you look at that, you just think he's just slogged it. He didn't slog it. The shots that he played, majority of them were all very, very good shots. Like they were all quality shots. I'm not just saying it because it's the name of the channel, but like genuinely, are really good shots. Also, how good is Bhuvneshwar Kumar? He's 2 for 29 off nearly 9 overs, and he went for pretty much nothing in the T20s in terms of runs. He has just been incredible since his return from injury even into the T20 side and just hit the ground running. Done it here in the ODIs as well. I mean, I personally didn't think he was a fantastic T20 bowler. I didn't really associate him as being a very good T20 bowler. But look at this. He's doing really well. So Tark says ODI prediction 2-1 to India. Yeah, I said 2-1. So actually, so Tark, I revised my my ODI prediction after I saw that Archer was injured. And in the preview video I did on the channel, I said 2-1 India. So yeah, well, I think I was actually expecting England to win this at the halfway stage, if I'm being honest with you. I just thought they've got enough firepower, but they just fallen to the wayside. And really, if I'm being completely honest, if they can't sort out those middle order problems, they're going to lose all 3 ODIs and pretty comprehensively, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Pretty comprehensively. And guys in the chat as well, thank you very much for joining. Please do remember to like the video. It really, really does help. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, really does help. Thank you very much. You're all legends. I mean, let me know what you guys think. If you're India fans or England fans, what do you think of this performance from your team or the other team? Or even if you're neutral, like what do you think in general? And what do you think? I think especially England, what do they need to change come the second ODI? Because I think they're going to be quite a few talking points after this in terms of what England need to do to improve because they've been pretty, shocking. And that's gone straight up in the air. That's probably going to be out. Let's have a look. That's gone straight into the offside. Yes, it is. It's game over. And India have just secured a very, very comprehensive victory over England. I'm just going to update the scorecard to reflect it. Pretty, just very, very tame end to this match. And India win it by, 66 runs. Can you believe it? I mean, Dinesh Karthik on Sky was saying this is such a flat track, and it does look pretty flat, to be honest with you. But yeah, Qatar said the middle order crumbled. Yes, the middle order did crumble, didn't they? It really did crumble. I mean, they were just shocking. They really were absolutely shocking. I mean, let's just hold on. There we go. Perfect. I mean, what should they do for the second ODI? I mean, what changes? They're going to have to make some changes. They have to. Cash says big win. Indian bowlers did very well. The Indian bowlers bowled fantastically. I think what actually impressed me the most is that, to be honest, and I'm going to be very honest, They got absolutely slapped, right, in the first, 10 to 15 overs? 15 overs, they got absolutely destroyed. Every single bowler, apart from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, got dispatched everywhere by Johnny Bairstow and uh, who was it? I can't remember. Sorry, Jason Roy. You know, Jason Roy was a bit. It was like he did bat quite well. You have to give it to him, but especially Johnny Bairstow. But the way that they came back, I think, was super impressive. As I said, Bhuvneshwar Kumar was already good, but people like Prasidh came back really, really well. He's picked up, I think, 4 wickets here. And Shardul Thakur as well came back really well. Pranul Pandya, really, really well. Like, these guys did so well in their second spells. And I think that's what's super impressive. And they made sure that the new batsmen coming in after Bairstow and Roy had got out, they put them under pressure. They didn't let them settle. Kuldeep Yadav was the only bowler for me that I was very disappointed by. I think he was pretty shocking throughout, if I'm being honest with you. But all the rest, I think, bowled really well, especially in the second spells. And they just pulled the reins in, right? But let's see. So Tart says, England have the best top 4 batsmen. If they can sort the middle order, they can win. I don't think they do. I personally don't think they do. I think they've got the best opening pair in Jason Roy and Bairstow. Stokes and Morgan. Stokes isn't a number 3, clearly, judging by this. He's been in pretty poor form with the bat, apart from 1 innings of 40 odd in the T20s. Morgan hasn't scored a run, I don't think, since the 2019 World Cup, and I could be wrong, but I don't think he has. I think he's been really, really poor. I need to check it out, but from what I can remember, I don't think he scored anything. So I think the openers are fine, but I think from 3 downwards, if you put in Root in there, then you're fine. But apart from that, from 4 downwards, I think you're struggling for some reason. Billings has been in good form, but they need to look at that. And I think Morgan not scoring any runs is a really, 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 really it's just alarming. Satar says Morgan has stitches. Yeah, but Satar didn't score any runs in the T20 series. 5 matches, not a single score. That's what I mean. It's worrying. It is worrying. He says, bring in Topley. Okay. But for who? Who do you bring Topley in for, Satar? That's the question. Tom Curran, maybe? Let me know. Yes, 127 off 14 overs. Yeah, so England were 127 off 14 overs. That's like a T20 start. Like, if you get to 127 off 14, you're thinking we can probably get 200 here potentially. Or you can get 180 there, right? It's T20 score. It's just, yeah. Charles says, I'll be devil's advocate here. I believe there are more worrying signs for India than England after the first ODI. England have players who are playing blind in a blackjack game. So Tart says Morgan has stitches. Yeah, but I don't think it would have made a difference. So Tart says Billings got hurt. To be fair to Billings, though, I think he looked quite good whilst he was in. So he didn't look like he was rusty. He's a bit rusty as well, Satak. So I don't think he's an issue. I think I'm talking about your Morgans, your Butler, your Stokes, right? I mean, none of them performed. Morgan got 20 odd. Moyne got 30 odd. Again, he got started. Probably should have gone on to more. Sam Curran was disappointing. Nearly ran out Moyne and then couldn't rotate the strike. And then played a ridiculous shot straight up in the air in a terrible scenario. Like, it's just Sam Curran's at 8, so really he's someone, I guess, who's an all-rounder, so you can't expect too much on him, I guess, as well. But I don't know. Disappointing. Charles says it's India who has to figure out how to defend itself against such a type of team. After a pass score, England were in a situation after the 20th over with a 90% win probability. Yes and no, Charles, is what I'd say. Yes, because I understand what you're saying, but it's very hard to shackle those two at the top. But to be honest with you, India will be looking at it saying, if we can get those 2 out, after there's not too much in terms of form coming. I can't foresee Stokes staying at 3. I think they'll bring in Livingston. I'd like to see Milan there, but he's in reserve, so I don't think he'll get a chance above Livingston first. And Stokes, I was just hoping he'd really stand up, right? And say, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity with both hands and I'm going to score runs. and he just didn't quite. And there's been these huge calls about him opening in T20s, which is, again, it's a different format. But yeah, he's such a talented player, but he just does my head in. And same with Moyne, two lefties that like are so talented in terms of, and they're such clean hitters of the ball, so inconsistent. So inconsistent. Ben Stokes, to be fair, in Test cricket has been unbelievable, by the way. Like, so apart of even the India series, he scored a couple of 80s, but he didn't have a fantastic series. But in the World Test Championship, I think he averages like nearly 50, so fine. But in the white ball formats, he's been really, really frustrating, Ben Stokes, with the bat since the 2019 World Cup, although he hasn't played a single ODI since. But he still hasn't scored a single 50 in T20s. Like, for someone as talented as him, like, how has that happened? It's just crazy to think about. Absolutely crazy to think about. So let's see. Just, yeah, carnage. And again, we've seen another match that looked like it was going to be competitive, and it wasn't. And I can only remember now one competitive match throughout this whole tour, because this was not a competitive match. It was not. Yeah. Anyway, the second ODI brothers on Friday. I should be able to cover that. I will be doing. I might try and do some of the West Indies, Sri Lanka rest of the days at some point today, a bit later on. But I'll be doing that tomorrow as well. So Tara says Tom Curran. So I think he's saying a restart playing for Tom Curran. Why not? Why not? I don't think it's a bad option. Why not? The only issue with that is it kind of weakens the batting even more, which they don't need. But Tom Curran's not really in there for batting, to be fair. So I don't think that's too much of an issue. And we've also got a Charles saying, so Tark, I was planning to switch off my TV after the 14th over and the 37th over for two completely different reasons. So I was planning to switch off my TV after 127 or 14. Why are you going to switch off your TV, Ajal, then? Why are you going to switch off your TV, Ajal? So after the 37th over, it's because he thinks it's game over, I'm assuming. Just... Actually, you know what? Should we do a quick review? Should we do a quick review? I think we should. We've got 4 people in here at least. Hopefully we can get some more in. But let's do a review. Let's do a review and kind of get your guys' thoughts on it as well. So let's start with the debutantes for India, right? I think that's a really good place to start. So number 1, Krunal Pandya, right? Hardik Pandya is, I think, his older brother, isn't he? What a knock from him, right? I mean, we've seen Ishan Kishan do it in the T20s, scored a 50 on debut. We also saw Surya Kumar Yadav do it, scored a fantastic 50 on debut as well. Now we've seen another player come in on debut and do it. So clearly there is no lack of talent in terms of batting for India. So Krunal Pandya has come in here and he's scored 58 of 31, 7 fours, 2 sixes. I mean, what an absolute beast of an innings. And then, I mean, KL Rahul, who's been pretty lacking of runs, really. He looked like he was struggling at first, but he was a perfect foil, 62 or 43. And that's after you've had Darwan hit 98 very well. But everyone else has kind of gone slightly slowly, in a sense of, you've seen Shreyas Iyer get 6 of 9. Rohit Sharma batted very slowly, 28 or 42. So he ate up quite a few deliveries and then got out, which didn't help. And Shikhar Dhawan was pretty good, 98 of 106. A very good knock in terms of being an anchor. But yeah, so Charles says he cried as his father passed. Yeah, I thought that was really heartwarming. That was really cool. He said he came to prove the point. Yeah, he did. He proved the point for sure, I think. And I thought that was really nice, the kind of tribute to his father. It was a bit strange him punching himself in the helmet and stuff. Like, I don't know, that was a bit aggressive for me, but I think he's been very, very good, actually. I thought his batting was very good, and he's obviously got long levers like Hardik Pandya as well, and he's just been very good. He was just very good, I thought. He's so confident, and I don't know, he just looks extremely good. Achal says Krunal Pandya is more of a bowling all-rounder compared to his brother, who is a batting all-rounder. But ever since he was promoted to the top order over Hardik by Mumbai Indians, his batting has excelled. Wow, okay, interesting. That's very interesting, actually. Yeah, he looks good, man. He looks good. He looks like a very good player. I just think he looks like someone who can play all the shots all around the ground. And how old is he actually? Because if he's slightly old, he must be late 20s then, right? He must be 27 maybe? 29. He doesn't have too... he's probably got, what, 4 years left? 5 years? So he's still got years left in him. He's in his prime now. And I didn't know that, you know. They were born in Ahmedabad, weren't they? Well, Krunal Pandya was, so Achal will know a lot about him. Result says he wants to make his place because he will try to fill that position for Jadeja and Washington Sundar. Yeah, so that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Jadeja is always going to come back in. But he looks good. His bowling was, I would say his bowling, I wasn't super impressed by his bowling. I'm being perfectly honest with you. I mean, he got slapped around in the first phase, right? The first 4 overs, he got slapped so hard. After that, he bowled quite well, but he was bowling to batsmen who were quite rusty in Billings and Moyne, and I think he got away with it a little bit there, and there wasn't so much pressure. So I think he looks like a decent bowler. I was more impressed with his batting, to be honest with you. So it's interesting that he's a bowling all-rounder, or seen as one now potentially as well. Satar says he was very aggressive. Yeah, super aggressive. It's what you like, isn't it? It's what you like. Charles says even for Baroda in state championship, Kunal is playing at number 4. That's really interesting, I think. Yeah, I think he's a very interesting player in terms of the way that he just conducts himself and plays as well. I've been very impressed in terms of just the way that he took the game away from England was super impressive for me. I thought he did a fantastic job for sure, and that I think was the most impressive thing out of everything. But yeah, very, very good stuff in general. From India, I mean, fantastic. I will probably do a very short review. I'll try and make sure I do a review of the ODI tonight, or release it tomorrow, kind of at the latest. I also want to kind of cover what was it? I want to cover the West Indies versus Sri Lanka Test match. So I want to do some bits on that as well. Whether it is today or tomorrow, we'll see. India winning by 66 runs, I thought was fantastic. And result is you can't blame the bowlers. Bairstow and Roy got their morale down. Yeah, I agree. Although to be fair to Dark, Bhuvneshwar Kumar would look like his morale wasn't down. I think maybe it shows that difference in class because Bhuvneshwar Kumar didn't have any issues at all. He just looks like class above, doesn't he? Maybe that's why. I think it's difficult, to be fair, for debutants like Prasid. I thought was very good in the second spell. Showed his worth. Obviously, under a lot of pressure in the first. Bairstow, I think Bairstow especially was like they're making their debuts. Prasid and Krunal Pandya. I'm going to go after them from ball 1. I'm not going to let them settle, and I thought that was really, really impressive for me. But Prasid recovered so well. I think he picked up 4 in the end. So he was mighty impressive as well. And could bowl pretty quick as well. I mean, he was kind of upwards of 145 Ks. So he looks like he's sharp and he got the ball to move a little bit off the seam as well, which is quite impressive. So I thought he did quite well. Yeah, he got 4 wickets, and Charles Thakur obviously got 3 pretty vital wickets in those middle overs, as Charles said, and he seems to surprise kind of constantly, I would say. Charles says that Darwin redeemed himself after being dropped in the T20 side. This is his natural format. Yeah, I agree. I think this is his natural format. I think this is the format where he knows he's comfortable around that kind of 90 to 100 strike rate, knowing that he can score quick enough to be super effective in here. But in T20s, he probably feels like he's rushed, I think. Crazy. Starters, can someone tell me what was Darwin and Bairstow doing? None of them got their century. Okay, I'll quickly go. I'll quickly, very briefly touch upon this before I go, because I can tell you exactly what happened. Shikhar Dhawan was in his 90s and he was batting really well. He's actually started to bat quicker at that point. and he should have just kept on going exactly in the same frame of mind that he was doing. Instead, he saw that he was in the 90s and thought, I want to make sure I get my 100, so I want to be a bit more cautious until I get to my 100. Some people would do that, and sometimes it pays off. I personally am just like, you just need to play exactly the way you're playing because you don't want to ruin your flow or rhythm. And that's what he did. He ruined his rhythm. And he started blocking it out and kind of just trying to nerd it for singles. And then eventually a ball came where it was his bread and butter to pull for 4. And because he had just slowed himself down and ruined his rhythm, his timing was completely off. And he was like, oh, hold on. Because he was in this defensive mode of I just need to pick up singles and twos. And next thing you know, he's timed it late and it's gone straight to the mid-wicket fielder. So crazy stuff. But yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. And then Bairstow, Bairstow's Bairstow. He was hitting very. I mean, what was it? His innings was crazy. 94 of 66, a strike rate of 140. That's a T20 innings, and he's gone to just clip one into the leg side, and I'm just thinking he hasn't got all of that, and he's timed it early, and yeah, that was a bit poor, but he was thinking 6 runs and I get 100, right? That's what he's thinking. So if he hit for 6, we were applauding him, but yeah, Bairstow's was a bit more strange because I feel like he was in a pretty good positive frame of mind, but that was just a bit bizarre the way he played that. Horace says, are you streaming the West Indies versus Sri Lanka test match? Yes, I will try to do some today. If not, I will definitely do some tomorrow. And I will definitely do some. Well, it's day 3, isn't it, today? So I'll definitely do some tomorrow. And if it goes to day 5, I'll definitely do day 5 as well. Horace says, people are saying, how are England number 1 in the world? Because they won the World Cup. That's why. They're a very good side. I just think they had a bad game. But they've got some issues to sort out for sure. Tar says he tried to pull the length ball. If you're talking about Darwin, I think the choice of shot from Darwin was fine. I think 99 times out of 100, he is pinging that, right? He's absolutely pinging that to down to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. That's gone for 4. He just completely mistimed it because his mindset was, I'm not going to play aggressively. And as soon as that ball came, he was like, it's almost like he was surprised that he was in 2 minds. Like, oh, I probably shouldn't play that. He's like, oh no, quickly, no, I should pull this. Hold on, I can get my 100 here, and this is easy. And then next thing you know, it was too late, and he just chipped it straight to mid-wicket. So his best is crazy. You can never underestimate him. He is crazy. Look at his arc in this series from Test, T20, and now ODI. Test matches, he's not a Test player, in my opinion. But he's a very good white ball player. And personally, and I've said this so many times, but like, surely, right, the way that he played in this ODI shows England that he's better, and him and Roy are best suited to open in T20s. And so Tark's going to kill me because Butler obviously scored some runs. I think he scored 2 innings where he scored some runs, wasn't it? But Bairstow is just so good with Roy at the top in T20s as well, and I don't know. I think they should both open in ODIs and T20s, but who am I, man? Who am I? Charles says today's defeat was the second biggest for England since 2015. Tells you a lot about their side and their dominance since 2015. I agree. They've been very, very good. Since that 2015 World Cup, they just revolutionised it completely. Owen Morgan has done a fantastic job captaining. His form, I'd like to see. Maybe I'm going to see if I can find it. Let's see. Morgan stats since World Cup 2019. Let's have a look. If I can find it. Oh no, I can't. There's nowhere easy to. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so let's have a look. So last year we're looking at 2020, right? That's what we need to look at. 2020. Okay, Okay, so apart from 100 against Ireland, which is okay, they're not a fantastic team, let's be honest. So apart from 100 against Ireland, scored pretty much nothing. Scored 11 against South Africa, 9 against South Africa, 36 not out against Ireland, 0 against Ireland, 100 against Ireland, fine. 23 against Australia, 42 against Australia, 23. And then so far in this, he scored what? We're talking about nothing in the T20s. And he scored nothing. Oh, mate. And he scored absolutely nothing today. Well, he scored 20 odd, to be fair. That's a bit harsh. But in the T20s, he scored absolutely nothing. So, yeah, that's one day internationals. Did they score any? That's his ODI form. About his T20 form. Where Charles says India is an unknown territory, having won the first game of the series. They lost their last 5 ODI series openers. That's true, isn't it? That's true. That's true. They always lose their first match and then go on to win. So the fact they've just won this is that worrying for England, or is that good sign for England that might flip on its head? Maybe. Who knows, man? Who knows? Crazy stuff though, isn't it? They keep on losing the first match, but this time they haven't. So good times for them. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. Please do remember to like the video if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Sotark, Achal, Harris. Who else joined? Jimmy 231 or 123? 231. Thank you to Cash as well. Rendezvous, Dark Soul, even though I'm not sure what Dark Soul's on about, but it's fine. Thank you to all of you for joining, and everyone else as well who tuned in. I didn't leave a comment, but was still listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day, evening, morning, all the good stuff. And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.